Hello and welcome. My name is Ramon Enriquez. I'm the club administrator for the American Indian Clubhouse Archery Program at United American Indian Involvement. Really thank you for being here today. We're going to get into our archery orientation video. This is a mandatory requirement for anybody who would like to come on out and shoot with us. We ask that you view this video. We're putting it online so you can review it. You can get to know a lot of the information, what our protocols are, what the range rules are, what some of the nomenclature of the equipment is, so that when you come on out, you already have a little bit of a head start, so that you can just come on out and just enjoy the day, come on out and shoot with us and have a great time. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce our program. Our program is a program of United American Indian Involvement. We're a nonprofit social service agency here in Los Angeles County that serves the Native American community here throughout the county. So we have a medical clinic, we have substance abuse programming, we have mental health programming, we have elders programming, we have youth programs, we have a workforce program. There's a ton of services that we offer to our community here in Los Angeles. We really try to be a one-stop for Native families throughout Los Angeles County. So I really encourage you to go ahead and look us up online, www.uaii.org, and find out what we're doing for our community here in Los Angeles. So we work with a lot of the different programs within United American Indian Involvement. So some of our coaches are from other programs, specifically our Walking in a New Direction program, one of our programs through the Robert Sundance Family Wellness Center. They are a substance abuse program, a suicide prevention, methamphetamine prevention type program. So there's just a lot of great information that they're always sharing with our group. We have the SAGE project, which is a grant through the Center for Disease Control, and we're really grateful for that grant. And we're looking at traditional ways of health and how we can incorporate that in our life today, and our archery program is one of those ways that we're looking at. So you'll find that throughout the year, we'll be doing a lot of traditional based workshops. We'll have contact with other traditional shooters and other tribal communities. So it's really an interesting program. It's really what sets our archery club apart. Let's see, we also have there our Central High School archery team logo. We have a community-based high school program, and they are able to participate in archery that we facilitate through the Olympic Archery in Schools program. So we're glad to have them join us sometimes on the weekends. And a couple other logos there. The Easton Foundation. Originally, we got a lot of our equipment through a grant provided by the Easton Foundation, so we're very grateful for that. We stay in communication with them, always trying to relay information about what the Easton Foundation is doing in the community, upcoming trainings for some of our members. So we really thank them. And then that other logo is our summer camp program. So our archery program actually started as an outshoot of our summer camp program. Summer camp, our resident summer camp, archery at one time was our biggest activity. Everybody wanted to do it, but there was only so many people that we could have on the range at a time. So coming back from camp, kids still wanted to shoot, so we decided, hey, let's give this a go. Let's try starting an archery club. And over the years, it has grown. It has grown considerably. So in 2019, we actually worked with over 125 youth in Los Angeles, introducing them to the sport of archery. So we had a fun time doing that. 2020 was a little different, but now in 2021, we hope to be back on track and really getting out to the community and introducing them to this sport. So let's see here. So why archery? Well, I'll start off by saying archery is a very safe sport. So USA Archery is our governing body for our program. And there's a lot of things that we have to do, a lot of trainings, background checks that we have to do to be certified as an official USA Archery Club. Now during this time of social distancing, there could be no better sport that's so well adapted to the current restrictions than archery. There's a lot of social distancing that's already implemented within the sport. It's something that you can go on out to the range and you can safely shoot by yourself or with your family. So there's a lot of safety that's already built into the sport. Adaptability. So the one thing that archery really is adaptable. So it's regardless of what physical limitations there might be, a shooter might have. There's always a way to adapt. There's shooters you can shoot in a wheelchair. There's a video that we sometimes show of an archer with no arms. He shoots using his legs. So really, if you have a bad back, we can accommodate that. Maybe we put a stool out there for you to help you with that. It's just very adaptable. So for some of the sports where maybe a physical limitation might limit the ability of a youth participating in that sport, archery, we will really work to find a way to make it possible. So it's a family sport. So the one thing great about archery is that you can have different levels, different ages competing against each other. So we love to see maybe mom competing against the son, or the dad competing against daughter, maybe nephew competing against grandfather. And there's definitely ways we can use a variety of different targets. There's different bow sizes that they can use, so it's very adaptable to different age ranges. It's definitely a sport that you can grow with. We hope to introduce this sport and to our youth and throughout their life, wherever they go. They can take this sport with them. There's individual and team competitions in all age ranges. So it's definitely something that you can continue doing for the rest of your life. There's individual competitions, there's team competitions, like our program, that you can participate in, and we'd love to tell you more about that. There's a difference between competitive shooting, which our team can be, versus recreational shooting. So if we don't really take this too seriously. We have a good time with it, with the sport. If those youth are really competitive, we really want to help them improve and hone their skills. But if they just want to come on out and shoot a few arrows and just enjoy the day, we're glad to have you as well. And it's what the cool kids do. So right now, there's a whole host of different media that are highlighting the sport of archery or archery in general. So it's just a really popular thing right now. Okay, registration with our program. On our youth side, every youth has to be registered with the American Indian Clubhouse. Our registration process is really quick. All of our programs are free. We don't charge for any of our programs. Once they are registered with the clubhouse, then they will have access to our equipment loaner program. So before you go on out and spend a lot of money on archery equipment, we really suggest you come on out, shoot with us, find out what you really like, find out what the differences are, and so that when you do go on out and purchase your own equipment, you'll know exactly what you're looking for. So hoping that'll save you some time and money. So so that's our loaner program. You'll also get access to all of our free coaching. So there's JOAD programs out there that charge a fee for participating in their programs. As a nonprofit, we don't. So we offer all of our coaching and all of our sessions for free. And then once you're fully registered, you'll be eligible for our awards program. So if you put in the time, you put in the practice, you will get recognized for that. There's a series of pins, and we'll get into that next. And we'll kind of show you what you will earn as a shooter. On the adult side, we ask that you registered with any one of the programs at United American Indian Involvement. Once you're registered with any one of the programs, you're eligible for our loaner program. So again, that gives you access to all of the equipment, everything. All the equipment that you would need, you can check it on out, and all the equipment that you would need to go on out to the range and actually practice. So, and if anything becomes damaged, just let us know. We'll repair it, give you a replacement at no charge to you. So we really want to eliminate all of the barriers to participating in the sport. Let's see here. Coaching and volunteering, again, you get access to our high level of coaching, and if you're interested in volunteering, you'll quickly find out that our clubhouse program really relies on adult volunteers. So if you'd like to come on out and work with some of our younger shooters, help them progress in their proficiency, we'd be glad to talk with you about that. And then again, the adults have their own set of awards. So, matter of fact, let's get into that. So here are some of the awards that you can earn through the JOAD program. So our JOAD program is our Junior Olympic Archery Development Program. So that's our youth component. And then our AAP, our Adult Archery Program. So you can see they're very similar. There's pins that denote the levels of proficiency. So that green circle is the first level, and you'll see there's a corresponding pin for the adults on top. So those are the proficiency levels. Then you look at the lanyards, the different colored lanyards. The different colored lanyards will denote what kind of equipment you're shooting with, whether you're a compound shooter, a recurve shooter, an Olympic style shooter. So this gives you an opportunity to use a variety of different equipment and earn different pins in different categories. So we really love to recognize the time that you put in, and you'll get to see who's actually practicing by the number of awards that they get month after month. So let's see here. So our club qualifications, what makes us unique? So the American Indian Clubhouse Archery Program, first off, all of our coaches are certified through USA Archery. We have all the way from level 1 to level 3 coaches that are there to help you become a better shooter. So take advantage of that. We put a lot of time into training our staff so that when you come on out, we can help you become a better shooter. The JOAD program, AAP program, I kind of talked about that already. You might hear about our Explore Archery program. So our Explore Archery program, and we've done this in the community a few times over the last few years, is kind of a great introduction to archery. It's a one-day event. We'll do it in the community. It's a great opportunity to maybe bring a niece, bring a nephew, introduce them to the sport, see if they like it. And if they do have a good time, then we definitely want to invite them back to one of our team practices. And in 2019, we had our first club tournament. It was the Sacred Rain Arrow tournament. We didn't have it in 2020. We hope to bring it back in 2021. It was a interclub tournament. It was great because, like I said, the great thing about archery is that you really just compete against yourself, so there's no pressure. It was a great time, and we hope to bring that back in 2021. And then I mentioned historically our connection to the Robert Sundance Summer Camp. Through that summer camp program, we've been able to introduce the sport of archery to hundreds of kids throughout Southern California. That includes San Bernardino County, San Diego County, Riverside County, up north of Los Angeles, the Bakersfield area, the Fresno area. There's been a ton of kids that we've worked with throughout the state. So a little historical aspect there about the club. All right, so now you know a little bit about our program. Let's get into the rules here. So uh, the landscape behind my picture is of El Dorado Park in Long Beach. It is a beautiful outdoor range. It was actually the site of the 1984 Summer Olympics, the archery competition. So it's a great range. Here is a copy of their range rules. So regardless of what range you're shooting at, you definitely want to check out what are the specific range rules at each particular range. Typically, there's going to be a time when the range is not available, so make sure you know. I know down at El Dorado, Thursday mornings are typically the day that they'll go on out and mow the grass. So if you have allergies, Thursday's probably not the best day for you. Sometimes there's restrictions on availability to the range based on club access. So there might be a tournament there on a weekend. So those are great things to see, but it might limit the access to the actual range. And then also you want to know about what kind of equipment is not allowed at the range. So there's things like compound bows that are a lot more powerful than the recurves that we shoot that aren't allowed. They put so much pressure down that probably just punch holes in the archery bales and would destroy the range. So just know what kind of equipment can and can't be used at the range. So things like hunting tips. Make sure your equipment, you're using field tips or blunt tips. Hunting tips just aren't allowed. Again, they would just shred the archery bales, and we don't want to damage the bales. We want to use them and make sure that we can freely use them throughout the year. Oh, let me see. Going back to range rules, there's also going to be a set of club rules that we'll talk about. We always talk about when we're down there. Things like no running on the range. You'll notice that the range, there's lanes, and we want to stay in our lane. We want to make sure that kids aren't running around. They could be running into other lanes that might put them into a lane that's being used by another archer. So we want to definitely be safe and respect everybody that's there on the archery range. So we have a poster that goes over our club rules when we get down there. Okay. Now, where do I shoot? So this is a list of some of the local ranges. I'm sure if I went outside Los Angeles, I know there's more that are available, but here's some that we'd like to share with you now. So El Dorado Park in Long Beach. So our home course down there, it is a regional park, so there is a fee for parking. So just be aware of that. But it's a great park. It's a great archery range. Let's see. There's also one in Pasadena, Pasadena Roving Archers Range. So if you Google that right there, you would find it where it's at on the map. There's Woodley Park in Van Nuys, another big beautiful park with a great archery range. Cheviot Hills Park in West LA is another archery range. And then the art range that we work with, actually the shop that we work with, High Tech Archery in Fullerton. So they have an indoor range. So we have a few shooters that attend the JOAD program there at High Tech Archery. So we'd encourage you, if you'd like to find out more about equipment, that's a great place to go to. If you mention that you're with the American Indian Clubhouse Archery Club, I believe they'll give you a discount on some gear. So, but they're just great folks over there. If you definitely, when you get serious about purchasing equipment, they're a great place to go. So those are some of the ranges right there, all outdoors except for the High Tech Archery Range. Okay, now let's get into the do's and don'ts of our archery program. So the first one is it's called dry firing. So essentially, you take your bow with no arrow on it, you pull it back, and then you just let it go. So when that bow has an arrow on that energy is transferred from those limbs to that string, and it propels the arrow. when there is no arrow on the bow, that energy is transferred to the limbs. So in an extreme case, you can actually crack the limbs that way. So there's no dry firing, so you're not even going to be touching the bows when you're on the range unless you're on the firing line ready to shoot. So that's just one thing that we tell everybody: no dry firing. We don't want to damage any of the equipment. Bows on toes. You'll hear this. This is kind of our club saying right here. Basically, you'll when you have your bow, sometimes they're transporting the bows, holding the bow, and they'll put the tip right here into the ground as they're waiting. So don't want to do that. If you take a look at the limb tip, it's actually made of sheets of laminated fiberglass, wood, different composite materials. But when you put it into the grass, it's moist and it introduces moisture in there, and it'll start to damage those tips. You'll see the layers start to separate. So we want to avoid that. So we tell them bows on toes. So if you need to, if you're holding your bow, you can put the tip on your shoe. All right. Listening to coaches' commands. This is essential. We're a program that really pushes safety. We want everybody to enjoy themselves. If we are having issues with somebody who's having difficulty going by the coaching commands, we will ask you to maybe put your equipment down and step back until we have an opportunity to talk with you one-on-one and let you know what some of the safety violations are, and you know what could happen if we don't abide by all of those safety regulations. So listening to the coaches and the commands from the coach. The waiting area versus the firing line. So there's two areas that you should be aware of. The firing line, obviously that's where you'll be firing from. The only people that should be at the firing line are the archers that are shooting at that moment. So if you're not shooting, you shouldn't be there. Everybody else is going to be at the waiting line. So it's a few feet behind the firing area. It's an area where you can congregate. You can talk about different things, but you won't have any. You won't have your bow. You won't have arrows back there. It's an area to sort of relax and just watch the activity. So again, if you're not shooting, you shouldn't be on the firing line. Parents, if you want to take pictures, talk with us first. We'll go ahead and set that up. We'd love for you to document this. We want you to have a good time. We want you to come back. So just let us know, and we can definitely work with you on that. The shot process. The first time you're shooting, we're not going to be very technical with you. We're going to show you how to shoot safely. And for that first visit, we'll probably just keep it very simple. We want you to have a good time. Typically, I tell my shooters it takes about 50 to 60 shots before they're even comfortable with pulling the bow. So don't worry about it. We've seen this happen time and time again. It's nothing new. Don't worry about it. You'll definitely get the hang of it. It just takes a little bit of time and takes a little bit of patience. So typically, if it's your first time shooting, we might not even put a target up because we don't want you focusing on that target. We just want you focusing on how to shoot safely. So as you continue to come on out to practices, and then we'll get a little bit more technical on the 12 steps of shooting, and we'll break those down for you individually and really help you become a really proficient shooter. So retrieving arrows. If you're an adult, we'll go ahead and train you how to retrieve your arrows. If you're a youth shooter for the first time, typically we'll pull all of those arrows and bring them back, and so you don't have to worry about that. In time, we will train you how to retrieve the arrows properly, and then once we get to a point where we think that you're proficient enough to abide by the safety guidelines, then you'll go ahead and you'll retrieve your own arrows. You could even be running your own shooting with another partner. So failure to follow rules. I'll just say, like I said, the intent of the program is to have a great time. but to do it safely. So we've had individuals that had difficulty listening and following safety guidelines, and maybe it just wasn't a good fit for them at that time. We hope that maybe at some point they'll reconsider and go by the rules, and we'd love to have them back. But we are very firm on our safety protocols. So let's see here. And this goes without saying, no drugs, no alcohol, and no bullying. So that goes for all of our kids. Definitely don't want to make fun of anybody. If it's their first time shooting, we understand, and we were all there at one point ourselves. But everybody will get better. So definitely don't want to bully anybody and discourage them from coming back. Let's see here. Okay, so let's talk about some of the equipment that we have. So you have in front of you 3 different bows. You have your long bow. So that might be something that you might have at home. If you have your own equipment, if you want to bring it out, definitely bring it to us. We can take a look at it, inspect it, and see if it's still shootable. If it is, if it needs a part, maybe it needs a new string, we can help you order that to get your bow up and going. What we use are recurve bows. So if you look at the recurve bow there, you'll notice that on the top and on the bottom there's a little recurve to the limb, and that's what denotes the recurve. And you can see the difference between the recurve that has that recurve and the long bow, which doesn't have that. So you also have a picture of a compound bow. So the compound bow is distinctive in that it has a wheel or a cam on top, and what that does is it gives you some mechanical leverage that gives the arrow a lot more power, a lot more energy through that mechanical leverage. So it's a little bit different type of bow. Typically it's a hunting bow. We do have a few. And if you're interested in taking a look and shooting with a compound bow, see what that's like, just let us know. But typically we have takedown recurve bows that we will go ahead and inspect, and before we even shoot with them, we'll make sure that everything is serviceable. If you have any problems, just let us know. We're there to help you. The equipment has to be personalized. So there's a left-handed bow, there's a right-handed bow, based on your eye dominance. So when you shoot with us, we're going to do an eye dominance test with you, and we're going to try to help you into a left-handed or a right-handed bow based on that eye dominance test. So that'll be our starting point. We'll also give you a bow that's sort of sized for you. So when I say sized, I mean length. So it could be a shorter bow if you're a shorter shooter. If you're a bigger person, a bigger shooter, we might give you a 30-pound bow. A 30-pound bow means that it has 30 pounds of pressure to pull that arrow back, to pull that string back. So if you're a smaller shooter, we might start you off with something smaller. When you first start off, we're really concerned about the shot process and getting that down as best as possible before we move you up to a higher bow. So we will go ahead and find the right bow for you. Okay, so parts of the bow, and one of the reasons why we put this online is so that you can go back and you can take a look at some of this stuff. So when we say check this, check that, you kind of have an idea. And once you've been around practice a couple times, you'll know what the upper limb is from the lower limb, what the riser is, what the knock point is. You'll get to know all that stuff in time. This picture, I included this picture in the presentation here because it shows our safety protection. So if you notice the arm guard, so the arm guard is going to go on the inside of that arm that's holding the bow. It's a piece of protective equipment, and for our youth shooters, it's mandatory. We want to keep you safe. All of our adults, we encourage that too. You're an adult, you don't have to use it if you don't want to, but I will say, if you check out all the pros, they're wearing it too, because that string hurts. So it's something that's there to protect you, and that's why it's one of our rules that our youth have to wear that. The finger tab. So the finger tab, as you release that string is going to come off with a lot of force really quickly. After a few times, it's going to leave your fingers a little tender. So to prevent that, we use finger tabs, and we have finger tabs in a variety of different styles. So we'll find one that you're comfortable with, and that's another requirement for all of our youth shooters, that you abide by the safety equipment. And then another one there that's shown in that picture right there is the chest guard. So if you find that you need a chest guard, we'll let you know where you can order them from. Their size, so you would have to get them for your particular size. But let's see here. Typically, we don't carry those, and for the most part, the arm guard and the finger tab are all that we will use. Okay, so we went through some of the nomenclature of the bow. Let's go ahead and talk about the arrow. So first off, the picture on the left gives you a really basic breakdown of the arrow. Okay, you've got the point, that's the sharp end. You've got the shaft, and every time we shoot, we'll make sure that all of the arrows that we're using are nice and straight. If you happen to find that your arrow is a little crooked, let us know. We'll get you a new set, and we'll put that in maintenance, get that all straightened out. You see the knock there, and you see the fletching. So the feathers or the plastic ends can be called vanes or fletching. Just depends on the material. Let's see here. And then the picture on the right, the nocking point. So on the string, you'll see a little brass component. Now, that arrow goes right underneath it. And we tell all of our shooters that they should hear an audible click. It actually pops in. If it doesn't pop in, if it's really loose, then we need to get you another set of arrows for that string that you're shooting, because that could cause an issue with your shooting. So definitely want to make sure that you hear that audible ping when that seats itself. In that picture, you'll also notice that there's two green fletchings, one on top, one on the bottom, and right in the center, you can barely see it, but there's an orange fletching right there. Every arrow will have two fletching of one color and then an odd fletching, a different color, and it's really important. That odd color is called your index vane. So every time you shoot, that index vane needs to be facing you. If it's not facing you, then it could actually send the arrow off a little bit off target, and I'd be glad to show you why when you're on the range. Just ask me. But just remember that when you're shooting, that's what we're talking about when we say, hey, check your index vane, check your index fletching. It's off. That's what we need to be aware of. So ask us about that. We can show that to you when we're on the range. Okay, so that's the basic overview right there of some of the protocols of being on the range, some of the safety guidelines that our club adheres to, some of the equipment you could be shooting. So now let's talk about club communications. So how do you stay informed about our club? There's a variety of different ways, and just find one that works for you. Okay, so if you're registered, if you're a youth registered with the American Indian Clubhouse, we send out a monthly newsletter that outlines what all of our youth programming is. So I suggest that you sign up for that. There's a ton of different things that we put in there. There's some great pictures that we'll always have of some of our shoots. So you might see your face in the newsletter. That's always kind of cool. Second, we do post our monthly newsletter to our American Indian Clubhouse Facebook site. So if you typed in American Indian Clubhouse, you can find us online through Facebook. We have a UAII website, which is being revamped right now, and we'll have an American Indian Clubhouse page that'll also have some of the information. We'll probably have the newsletter posted there as well. So maybe if that's what you have access to, then maybe you could do that. A final option, and this is one that technology never ceases to amaze me. We've started using a couple years ago. It's called the Band app. So it's an app you can actually download onto your phone, and through that app we can post a variety of different things. If there's a tournament that's coming out, we'll post something to our Band app. If we're doing a contest, maybe that's a way to communicate with other club members. Hey, I just had a personal best or something. Great day at the range. You want to share it with everybody? We can share it through that Band app. So we do a lot of postings throughout the month, not just at that time when we distribute the newsletter. So if you're interested in that, let us know, because we have to send you a code so you can join us on the Band app. So that's how we can communicate electronically. Next, I want to just say that United American Indian Involvement is actually in the process of moving. So we're moving from our old location, which was 1125 West 6th Street in Los Angeles, right down the road, just south of Echo Park, to 1453 West Temple. So there's a picture there. There's a picture of our new building that we'll be moving into. So that's where our physical location is going to be. If you want to reach on out to us through email, I put our email there, clubhouse@uaii.org. If you need applications, if you want to register, definitely send me that information. And our telephone number is 213-202-3970, extension 7120. And I do ask that if you do leave a message, give us a little bit of time. Right now, during this transition, our phones aren't always available. So the best way to get a hold of us is definitely through email. Okay, so that concludes our orientation video. So I thank you for joining us. We look forward to meeting you. We have a great time when we're out on the range. When the weather's good, we're usually potlucking. So if you're big into tailgating, you'll fit right in. So there's always a ton of fresh fruit for the kids to scarf down on, and there's usually a bit of a parent circle back in the waiting area, in the spectator area. So it's a really good family program, and we look forward to meeting you and having you join us on the range. Okay. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.